I love the smell of napalm in the morning. Smells like victory.
Apocalypse Now is a 1979 American war film produced and directed by Francis Ford Coppola. The screenplay, written by Coppola and John Milius with narration by Michael Herr, is loosely based on Joseph Conrad's 1899 novella Heart of Darkness, with the setting shifted from the late 19th century Congo to the Vietnam War. The story follows Captain Willard, who travels by river from South Vietnam into Cambodia on a secret mission to assassinate Colonel Kurtz, a rogue special forces officer accused of murder and believed to have gone insane. The film features a number of well-known actors, including Marlon Brando, Harrison Ford, Robert Duvall, Lawrence Fishburne, and Martin Sheen. Apocalypse Now is widely known as one of the most difficult and chaotic productions in film history. Director Francis Ford Coppola began the project with an extremely ambitious vision, but filming in the Philippines between 1976 and 1977 quickly turned into a series of crises. Shooting the film proved extremely challenging due to the harsh natural conditions in the Philippines. Typhoons repeatedly destroyed sets and forced the production team to rebuild major locations from scratch. What was originally planned as a few months of filming eventually stretched to more than a year, and as the schedule expanded, the studio's support and financing began to weaken. Coppola took a major personal risk by mortgaging his own assets and investing millions of dollars of his own money to keep the production going. The production was also slowed by several other problems. For example, the helicopters used in the film were provided by the Philippine military, which was using them simultaneously in real combat operations. Coppola never knew how many helicopters would be available for filming on any given day, and at times the military would recall them in the middle of shooting to participate in actual combat missions. There were also difficulties involving the actors. Martin Sheen suffered a serious heart attack during production, and Marlon Brando arrived overweight and largely unprepared for his role, forcing Coppola to rethink and redesign several of Brando's scenes. Amid all these setbacks, Coppola himself suffered from severe stress and exhaustion, which further complicated and slowed the production. Upon its release, Apocalypse Now became both a critical and cultural landmark. Despite its notoriously troubled production, the film achieved major box office success and received several Academy Award nominations, including Best Picture and Best Director, and it won Oscars for Best Cinematography and Best Sound. Over time, it has come to be widely regarded as one of the greatest war films ever made, influencing how cinema portrays the psychological chaos of war and shaping many war movies and filmmakers that followed. The film is also remembered for its intense combat sequences, which combine large-scale battlefield action with powerful visual storytelling. Helicopter assaults, river patrol ambushes, and chaotic firefights are depicted through a blend of cinematic spectacle and unsettling realism. The tactics, weaponry, and military operations shown throughout the film, from helicopter gunship attacks to infantry combat, help create some of the most iconic war scenes ever filmed, merging a sense of military authenticity with Coppola's surreal vision of the Vietnam War. There are several different versions of the film, ranging from the 147-minute theatrical release to the 289-minute assembly cut, which is also known as the film's work print. In this video, we go through all the weapons that appear across the available footage, including those seen in the work print version. Since the film was shot in the Philippines, most of the weapons used in the production were supplied by a Filipino armorer. As a result, the movie features certain firearm models that would not have been available from American armorers during the Cold War period when the film was made. Additionally, the firearms shown in the film are accurate to the time period depicted, largely because the movie was produced relatively close to the events it portrays. Let's begin our overview of the firearms seen in the film with the weapons used by the American soldiers. The most commonly seen sidearm among U.S. troops is the Colt M1911A1 pistol, chambered in .45 ACP. The pistol appears in the hands of several key characters throughout the movie. At the beginning of the film, Captain Benjamin Willard, played by Martin Sheen, has the pistol resting on the bed in his hotel room in Saigon. Later in the story, Willard uses the M1911A1 to finish off a severely wounded Vietnamese civilian after Chief's men accidentally open fire on them. The pistol is also carried throughout the film by Lieutenant Colonel Bill Kilgore, portrayed by Robert Duvall. An interesting detail about Kilgore's weapon is its pearl grips, which feature an engraved air cavalry symbol. In the film's workprint version, Colonel Walter E. Kurtz, played by Marlon Brando, is seen holding a Colt pistol when he shows it to Willard while Willard is held in a cage. When Chief Phillips, played by Albert Hall, stops a fisherman's boat for inspection, he is seen carrying a Smith & Wesson Model 10 revolver chambered in .38 Special with a 3-inch barrel. In the film, characters from both the U.S. Army and Navy are seen carrying and using M16 rifles chambered in 5.56 by 45 millimeters. The most commonly seen model is the Colt M16A1, typically fitted with 30-round magazines. While 30-round magazines were in use in 1969, the year in which the film is set, they were still relatively uncommon at the time. The smaller 20-round magazines would likely have been more accurate for the period depicted in the film. M16A1 rifles appear in the hands of several characters across multiple scenes throughout the movie. The film also shows some rifles that combine an A1-style lower receiver with an older SP1, Colt Model 604, upper receiver that lacks a forward assist. One such rifle is seen with Lieutenant Colonel Kilgore, who takes it from one of his men to provide cover while his troops prepare to go surfing during the battle at Vinh Dinh Drop. A similar SP1-style rifle is also seen with a soldier firing from a helicopter. Later in the film, when the PBR boat comes under fire from tracer rounds on the river, 2 MGC M16 replicas can be seen standing in for real rifles. During the scene at the Do Lung Bridge, the character The Roach, played by Herb Rice, uses an M79 grenade launcher chambered in 40 by 46 millimeters. The weapon is painted with a distinctive tiger stripe pattern. An M79 is also seen in the hands of Willard and one of Kurtz's men. The most commonly seen machine gun in the film is the M60, chambered in 7.62 by 51 millimeters. It appears in several scenes, including aboard helicopters, but it is most prominently featured mounted on the PBR patrol boat. On the boat, the weapon is attached to a mount and fitted with a C-Rat ammunition can to prevent the belt from snagging during firing. On the PBR, the M60 is primarily operated by Clean, played by Lawrence Fishburne. An interesting behind-the-scenes fact is that Fishburne was only 14 years old when he auditioned for the film. He lied about his age, claiming he was 16 in order to be eligible for the role. Because the production lasted so long, he was eventually 17 years old by the time some of his scenes were filmed. Clean uses the M60 in several scenes. One notable moment occurs when the crew stops a fishing boat for inspection, and Clean opens fire with the machine gun on the fisherman. He is also seen firing the M60 from the PBR during an attack on indigenous villagers along the river. The M60D variant appears mounted as a door gun on helicopters during the battle at Vinh Dinh Drop. A different version, the M60C, which is electrically fired and remotely controlled, can be seen mounted on one of the Bell UH-1 Iroquois helicopters. During the famous helicopter assault sequence, another Huey helicopter is equipped with a door-mounted General Electric M134 minigun, chambered in 7.62 by 51 millimeters. The electrically driven minigun is actually quite convenient to use in film productions. Unlike many other firearms, it does not require a blank adapter to cycle properly. Because of its extremely high rate of fire, typically 2,000 to 6,000 rounds per minute, the only real requirement is a massive amount of blank ammunition. And when we say massive, we mean a lot. It's also interesting to estimate how expensive firing a minigun can be. As of 2026, a single 7.62 by 51mm round on the civilian market costs roughly 75 cents on average. If a minigun firing 6,000 rounds per minute were held down for a full minute, that would amount to roughly $4,500 worth of ammunition. Even though the military typically pays far less per round, around 50 cents each on average, just 1 minute of continuous minigun fire would still cost approximately $3,000 in ammunition. UH-1 Huey helicopters are also shown equipped with 7-round pods for 2.75-inch rockets. The rocket launchers seen in the film are LAU-68 pods, which became more common in the Vietnam War during the 1970s. For historical accuracy, M158 rocket launchers would have been a more appropriate choice for the film's 1969 setting. The launchers featured in the movie were part of the Philippine military's equipment, which is why they appear in the helicopter scenes filmed for the production. During the famous helicopter assault, Kilgore calls in an airstrike carried out by Northrop F-5 fighter aircraft operated by the United States Air Force. Both F-5A and F-5B Freedom Fighter variants appear in the scene. The aircraft are equipped with 20mm Pontiac M39 cannons, although the guns are not actually fired during the attack. On Chief's PBR boat, Browning M2HB heavy machine guns chambered in 50 BMG are mounted. At the bow of the boat, the M2HBs are installed in a twin mount, while at the rear there is a single-mounted M2HB known as canned heat. In the film, the twin-mounted M2 machine guns are operated by Lance Johnson, played by Sam Bottoms. The canned heat gun is used by Chef in several scenes. M2HB machine guns are also seen in the hands of soldiers at Do Lung Bridge. Near the end of the film, one of Kurtz's men is seen carrying a Remington Model 700 rifle chambered in 7.62 by 51mm. Another of Kurtz's followers can be identified with a Madsen M50 submachine gun, chambered in 9 by 19mm. At Kurtz's compound, Captain Colby, played by Scott Glenn, is armed with an Ithaca 37 trench gun shotgun in 12 gauge, fitted with a heat shield and bayonet lug. In the work print version of Apocalypse Now, Colby uses the Ithaca shotgun to shoot the photojournalist, played by Dennis Hopper, after he takes a photograph of Kurtz. In the Redux version of the film, French colonists are shown carrying a variety of weapons. One French colonist is seen with a 9 by 19mm MAC-49 submachine gun, while another can be identified with a 30-06 caliber Browning automatic rifle, M19A2. Several French colonists are also seen carrying 30 carbine M1 carbines, each equipped with 30-round magazines. North Vietnamese soldiers are shown using 7.62 by 39mm Norinco Type 56 assault rifles. Since the movie was filmed in the Philippines, the use of Type 56 rifles was possible, even though they were not available in the United States during production. Type 56 rifles are seen with North Vietnamese soldiers throughout various scenes in the film. They are also visible in the hands of Kurtz's men and some French colonists. During the helicopter attack, the North Vietnamese are shown firing a DSHKM heavy machine gun, which in reality is a mocked-up Browning M2HB machine gun. Using a mocked-up M2HB to represent a DSHK was very common in films for decades, as filmmakers did not have access to genuine DSHK machine guns. Hope you enjoyed the video. Write in the comments what you thought of the Apocalypse Now movie and what things and details you found in the movie yourself. Also remember to like the video, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, it's worth doing so. It's free to subscribe, and you'll be notified when more interesting videos about firearms in movies are uploaded to the channel.